which also served as a hall for weddings and events. The badminton players had genuine grievances, and frequently a notice would be posted that the badminton court was closed on account of booking of a function. The entire corridor of the hall was occupied by a bridge stalwarts, whose vociferous discussions during the game would be enjoyed by the badminton players and others in the club. A small carom room, a canteen outside along with a tennis court. Though the infrastructure was small, the spirit of the club members as always was high and lively. The infrastructural leap started in the club since 1994, and today we are proud to provide to not only our members but the public at large 7 halls for events and meetings, 18 rooms for accommodation of guests and affiliated members, 2 tennis courts, 2 pickleball courts, badminton and squash courts, 3 table tennis tables, billiards and snooker room, cards room, childcare room, a gymnasium and swimming pools. We also have in the club 2 restaurants, a spa and a library. I wish to make a specific acknowledgement to all the past presidents and managing committee members of the last century who have dedicated their time and efforts to make this centenary year possible. It is a testament to our past that I can stand here as your representative today celebrating a milestone such as this. At the club, we strive to enhance the sporting, social, cultural and environmental aspects. On the sporting front, every year lawn tennis, table tennis, bridge and pickleball tournaments are held in the club where not only players from the state but some reputed outstation players also participate. On the social front, we host every year the All Goa Drawing and Painting Competition for children with disabilities, wherein more than about 450 children participate every year. On the cultural front, we have our annual New Year Eve, Diwali Dhamaka, Christmas party, dance and yoga classes and housey nights held every alternate weekend. On the environmental front, our efforts are to reduce carbon footprints by having solar installations on the entire rooftop. Today, we stand on the threshold of our next century. Let's honor our past and embrace the future with optimism. I end by saying that with first 100 years of the club coming to an end, the future looks bright. I welcome you once again, the Honorable Governor, Dr. Justice Ribello, and all the other distinguished guests, and invite you to bless on this occasion our very prestigious and dear Club Tennis de Gaspar. Thank you.
Well, we have over 100 years of stories to share, but before we get to that, I would like to call upon Mrs. Jeanette Menezes to present a floral welcome to our chief guest, the Honorable Governor of Goa. I would like now to call upon Mrs. Akshara County to give a floral welcome to our guest of honor, Dr. Justice Ferdinand Ribeiro. Well, as you heard me say before, we've got 100 years of stories to share. And who better to do that than our very own historian of the club, Mr. Sanjeev Sardesai.
Respected Chief Guest of the Day, Honorable Governor of Goa, Shri P.S. Sridharan Pillai, First Lady, Mrs. Pillai, Honorable Guest of Honor, Dr. Justice Ferdinand Ribeiro, Chief Justice, High Court of Allahabad, retired, Respected President of the Club Tennis de Gaspar, Mr. Sunil Naik, and officiating President, Advocate Yogesh Nadkarni, Secretary, Shri Tanmay Kakurdar, and my dear guests. Confucius said, and I quote, If you think in terms of a year, plant a tree. If you think in terms of 10 years, plant a forest. And if in terms of 100 years, teach the people. At the outset, I wish to place on record my deepest gratitude to the Managing Committee for having bestowed the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of heading the centenary celebration of our prestigious club, the Devaripuru. My duty also comes with a responsibility to make you aware about the humble beginnings and the meteoric rise of Clube Tennis de Gaspar Diaz, all in just 100 years. This prestigious achievement would not have been possible for the collective efforts of all managing committees that have held the helm of this club and the support of the members on their roles. I pay my humble respects to all of them and also to the present managing committee and members too. We all are links in a chain that has grown to a century-long period. In this, my speech, I have to encapsulate a century of achievements and a year-long activity list. This club, in actuality, started in the year 1921. After the registration of Club National, the first social club in Goa, in Panjim in 1921, a handful of Portuguese fidels and prominent citizens of that era decided to form a similar social club on the peripheral outskirts of the developing city at a location we now know as Miramar. This beach was popularly called as Praia de Gaspar Diaz or Gaspar Diaz Beach, whose original name was Pinduk. And the name Miramar came about after being identified by the city bus conductors with a small hotel that existed around here named Casino Miramar, run by the Roncon family. It is said we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us as we look forward to the next century. We are at that stage. Initially, this small group of people operated unofficially from a coconut leaf thatched shack, and after registering their constitution on 25th April 1926, they named their association as Clube de Gaspar Diaz. Later, in 1934, an American lady, Mrs. Josephine Hogas, who had arrived in Goa for a long stay, introduced the game of lawn tennis by creating a mud-packed court. The game became so popular that the committee decided to name or rename the club as Clube Tennis de Gaspar Diaz. So started the journey of this club with this new identity. It is with pride that I inform you that prior to liberation, this club was patronized by many Portuguese Governor Generals, one among them being Dom Cravier Lopes. In fact, there were two Cravier Lopeses, and both of them were here, 1929 and 1936. And immediately after liberation, the late Sri Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India, and his daughter, late Mrs. Indira Gandhi, were hosted here in the old club building. The history of our club prior to liberation is very hazy, and attempts are being made to research it. But just to inform you, at the time of liberation, there were only 11 members on the rolls of this club. Incidentally, today, it is the 39th death anniversary of one of those 11 members who were on the roll then. Today, our club boasts a strength of over 2,400 members. Using all these facilities, which our President has mentioned to you, we are now all set to celebrate the centenary year on a status it deserves. We have plans for activities throughout the entire year, embracing all age genres. The Goa Union of Journalists, Goa Philatelic and Numismatic Society and others are among those we will associate with. To encapsulate the events for this year, we have for the senior citizens the art of letter writing as a competition. Along with this event, we will also host an exhibition of old stamps and coins. The highlight of this year is that any citizen celebrating his or her 100th birthday shall be offered our club hall free to celebrate their momentous day, subject to availability and fulfilling the basic condition that you must be 100 years old. For the children, we have a variety of competitions such as kite making and kite flying competition scheduled around Makar Sankranti next year. On the same day, we shall hold a sand castle building competition for the parent members because it has been a long time since parents have got their hands in the mud. We shall hold sports competition for members as well as contests for team-based inter-social clubs of Goa, which, as per our information, are being held on these lines for the first time in Goa. In the academic area, we have instituted a monthly lecture series. This will be a fascinating experience for the audience as the topics cover a range of presentations from cycle tours in foreign countries, sailing around the world, philately, photography, gardening and Goa's sacred groves, besides other topics. We also plan a monthly in-house e-bulletin to showcase our events. We cannot have a completion of our centenary if we do not include the schools and young children. For them, we have planned inter-school wealth from waste competition incorporating the element of addressing solar usage and garbage disposal. For the club members as well as in the open category, we have quiz contest, cooking contest, the discovery treasure hunt for bicycles, two-wheelers and cars, basically families, photography contest and many more. Every participant shall get a certificate of participation while huge prizes and trophies await the winners. The year will culminate with a similar glittering ceremony where we will release the Centenary Coffee Table book compiling memories of the past and the achievements of our club and its present members. Today, I, on behalf of the club tennister Gaspar, appeal to all present that as soon as our chief guest officially launches the Centenary celebrations, please do keep in touch with the club admin office and the Centenary celebrations office, from where we will keep you apprised of the schedule of the various events. I wish to sign off by saying, a century of memories, a century of achievements, a century to be proud of. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sanjeev Sardesai, first of all, for putting 100 years of stories so briefly and sweetly to all of us, and as well as letting us know what we have in store for the full year. Well, I would like to now call upon our guest of honor, Dr. Justice Ferdinand Ribeiro, to kindly address the gathering.
His Excellency P.S. Pillai, Governor of Goa, the President of the club, Mr. Sunil Naik, the Acting President, Mr. Yogesh Konkani, Chairman of Centenary Celebrations Committee, Sanjeev Desai, Secretary, Mr. Kolkar, ladies and gentlemen, आज दिसाची सगळ्यांक मन पडपा. 50 years ago, as a young lawyer, I was in this hall raising a toast at a wedding of another young lawyer. I was not aware why someone so young should have been called to raise the toast. But I realized that I had a cap, ex-MLA, and perhaps that was the reason why I was invited. 50 years hence, hair grey, wiser, I'm back again over here as a member to be with you all on this momentous occasion. The first thought in my mind when I was asked to be over here and I was told that I would speak around 10 minutes, was, what am I going to do and what am I going to speak? I remember Churchill who had said, give me 2-3 hours to speak and I require no preparation. Give me 10 minutes and I require 3 days to compose my thoughts. Now, how was I to compose my thoughts? I first went, as all of us I think younger members do, a Google search about the club. And I said, Centenary of a club. And believe me, please don't laugh, says Tendulkar's 100 centuries. Then some other friend said, there's no artificial intelligence. Please go to chat box, they'll give you a speech. And I recollected some months earlier, I had read an article where a lawyer had presented submissions to a judge with all full citations of lawyer on behalf of his client. Artificial intelligence. The judge read the brief, checked the citations, and there were no citations. Artificial intelligence had created its own citations. So I said, now let me not do that, and let me at least pen my thoughts, and therefore I have penned these thoughts, which I will try to speak in a few brief moments. See, all these years, what I have been speaking is I've been a lawyer from 73 to 1996. I was addressing judges as to why I am right and the opponent is wrong. From 96 to 2011, I was telling lawyers in legal language why they were wrong. And post-retirement 2011 as an arbitrator, I have learned my lesson. I keep my silence. I don't ask questions. And the reason is simple. If you tell the lawyer that he's wrong, as is the habit, he's not going to refer any matter to you again. So therefore that said, let me now pen my thoughts, and I have tried to put this in a few words. Now, people have spoken about history, and history spans 2 different historical periods, pre-liberation and post-liberation. Now, why do I speak of history? Now, in history, the past is what you look at. The present is the mirror which you see, and the future would be the binocular if you try to gaze at the stars. You may have differences of opinion, but when you discuss history, it is to debate. Someone may have one opinion, somebody may have another opinion. But every institution which has a history, it is relevant that this history is known, and I'm glad that your secretary or the chairman of the ICT are going to dig back. It becomes an eye-opener for the future. History helps you to know what your past was. History helps you to know what were the mistakes committed. But more important, history gives you the idea of the basic structure that was laid down by the founders of this club. That is why history is important. These days I have been reading and going through, Goa has been ruled by various dynasties, but it is the last rulers, what we call the colonial rulers, the Portuguese. To them, Goa was not merely a colony, but it was a part of their territories outside Portugal, and that is why you find that Goans are eligible to take membership, to get Portuguese citizenship. It is not because of a colony, but because it was a part of their former territories. Having said that, As pointed out, the club also has an international reputation in the context that the tennis was first started here by an American lady, and today you have many others members, as reported in your report, who are also internationally well known. And as pointed out by the acting president, the land on which the premises stand are thanks to the Konkani Mumbai family. Now, I have a special bond with this family because I have my office in Vellore building on the 4th floor, and I overlook their compound, inside the compound, and there is this mango tree which starts flowering sometime in September, October every year. So after rains come September, October, I used to peep out of my office. When will the first blossom come out? And what has that blossom got any relevance to our debate or speak today? The idea was that that blossom reflects life, hope. So this is the connect which I want to bring between the Mumbai Kamal family, this club, and my own experiences in the office. Now, who are the members over here? Our members are an elite of the Golden Society. We have doctors, architects, engineers, lawyers, businessmen, and every other person whom we can find as a part of this social group. And these do require recreational facilities. But when you say go to a club, pardon me, the members will tell you, the first thing to a member is where is the bar? You can't, because I don't know about your Kerala experience. But over here, that is the central theme and the central point where everybody gathers. And that's the place where everybody talks and discusses. And you said that you are going to spread literacy. See, good old days, every club used to think in terms of who has the best library. Now, does anybody go to libraries? It is the computer, Google search, and now artificial intelligence. I have come to the club several occasions. I had an arbitration going on over here. But pardon me if I say so, the only library that I thought I saw was some newspapers and cards in the card room. I do not know that in fact there is a library, but don't worry about it, not required. The best library, according to me, is when you sit in the bar. You discuss and get experiences of all kinds. Sometimes they are gems. You don't require to research, and Governor, believe me, if you are there, you will have sufficient material to write on the book. A club is a place to bond with its members, creates lifelong friendship and learning experience from each other's professional activities. In a club, there will be members who may transgress the law. When you say transgress the law, may breach the law. There are members, some of whom will defend him, some of whom will prosecute him in a court of law. And then there will be members like me, a few of us, black oaks, trying to judge who is right and who is wrong. So we have all these kinds of people in the club. As the saying goes, birds for feather flock together. But believe me, normally all these groups don't sit together, they sit on separate benches. Now, developing a sports culture as physical activities are an essential attribute to remaining healthy. Creating an environment of activating the thought processes, creating an atmosphere which allows member children to develop team spirit, health consciousness through sporting activities, as also achieving high standards in sports. Members cannot remain aloof to their contribution and can contribute to the general advancement of society, to our state, to our nation. Now, why do I say that? All of us over here, I don't know how many, but many of us, in 1987 participated in the fight for language, in the fight for statehood. And we had high ambitions that this small state would become a city-state, where our students would get first-class education, where every sphere of life would give us dynamism, that we would be the best state in this country. Now sometimes dreams get shattered, but they are dreams, they never die. So there is hope. You cannot say because something has gone wrong that all is over. But it is to members like us who are sitting over here who must bear in mind that the future of this land is yours to keep. You can't ask somebody else if you don't yourself help to protect this small, beautiful Manipurian boy. Now you'll say, why are you saying all this to us on such an occasion? Now these are occasions where we meet. These are occasions where we can speak, where we can articulate. No society will advance if our thought process does not flower, if we do not speak our minds. We may sometimes be the lone person to speak against the tidal wave, but remember that lone dissent at some point of time is accepted and becomes the view of the majority. In legal language, we have these great occasions. We had judges who took a different view from majority view. But some years later, that minority view became the majority view. Therefore, it is always important that wherever we are, we speak. The right to speak is a part guaranteed to us by our Constitution, subject of course to reasonable restrictions. So we must ensure to ourselves that whatever that the future of this land, there are so many issues you may be hearing in the press, and this is not a forum where I will speak. But it is important that we, as some of the most important citizens in this, I do not mean to say the rest are not important, but you are people who are educated, people who have held posts in life, people who can articulate things which perhaps others can't articulate. And therefore it is important that in clubs like this, members articulate, and I hope some point of time, of course, you invite speakers from time to time to speak on subjects which are of general public importance. So all of us, see, every time when I go for a conference, I come back with something which I never knew. Something, I thought we are all students of law. I thought I knew everything about law, about certain things. I was hearing on video, YouTube, Justice Joseph from Kerala, retired justice, and a question was asked is the right to property a fundamental right. Now everybody said it is no longer a property right because it's taken out and put in Article 38. But Justice Joseph reminded them, there are articles like 26, 27, 28, 29, where people have, minorities and other groups, religious, linguistic, have the right to maintain institutions and other things, so that part becomes, the property becomes fundamental right. Now this was surprising to many of us because I had not opened my mind to this thought process, which I understood only when Justice Joseph articulated. So it is important that every club, on an occasion, I don't say every day, invite important speakers, thought makers, thought articulators to come and address, and don't leave it only to members, invite students, invite faculty, others, so that everybody imbibes of that. And I would be amiss if I don't say that we must thank the past managing committees, the present managing committees, and those who will come in the future. The past managing committees laid a solid foundation on which the present have built further. It is up to the present committee to lay down higher standards so that those who come here and after will take the club to even greater heights. And let me conclude with the anecdote. A preacher was presenting his views on a passage from the Bible where it was quoted, "The sun stood still." Now this is something in science, you may question me, how can the sun stand still? But it's there. He said then there are three motions of the sun. The first is the straightforward motion or direct motion. The second is a retrograde or backward motion of the sun. And the third is the motion, the sun stood still. And now this is important. An orator at first begins with a straightforward motion of the sun. Next he goes back and forth to repeat himself, that is the backward position. And last, he has a good sense to bring himself to put an end to his speech. And that is the motion which says in the text, the sun stood still. So I thank all of you for giving this opportunity, not only because I held the position, because I am one of you, a member, and I thank the managing committee members who invited me. And I hope that in the coming years, the club will see more activities and a better future for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I would like to now call upon our chief guest, the Governor of the State of Goa, His Excellency P.S. Sridharan Pillai, kindly address the gathering.
Honorable guest of fellowship, Dr. Justice Ferdinand W., President of the club, Advocate Yogesh Nakarni, Honorable Secretary and Mayor Kolka, Chairman of the Centenary Celebrations, my good friend, Sri Sardeshai, distinguished guests and my dear friends. Due to a throat infection and some other complications, today Actually, I am keeping away from Rajbhavan. But Sajeev Sardeshai is always helping Rajbhavan for its publications and other things. And Mervardhan also present here. They told me that normally extempore speech, because prepared speech over the last 4 years, I have not prepared any speech and delivered. Because language of heart. Dr. Amador Lohia, he was a great scholar in English and Hindi and other languages. Once his followers asked him, we are going to our villages. More than 60% of the Indian villages at that time, they were all illiterate. They can't write their name or read their name. Then asked the question, what language you will use, Hindi, Urdu, English or whatever may be, while they are going for contact. Then he used the word, the language of heart. And certain examples also he quoted. I am not going to that aspect. So today, at about 4 o'clock I reached here from another state. And because of my this throat infection and other things, I requested to excuse me for this program. Then Mr. Mervardhan IAS, he stated that, sir, you come, few words I will prepare and leave it to you. That is with me. So, a speech from my heart I can express. Only I am a reader here, not a speaker. But actually in this also, after hearing the Lordship, an introspection is required for all of us. And I would like to say, he mainly referred with respect to my fraternity, legal fraternity, and courts and other things. I think I also, only 5 minutes or 10, maximum 10 minutes is allowed for me. Some relevant questions we can see from the speech of our guest of honor today. I am remembering one thing. I don't know whether it is proper on my part to say now. Anyway, all people from all walks of life are here. About 2 weeks back, I have decided to give some amount from my discretionary fund to a law college here. I am not mentioning the name because 3 or 4 law colleges are here. I called the topmost person from that college, law college. And I expressed my opinion because discretionary fund is always governors can use. There is no serious examination of the fund and auditing also very less or zero as far as governance discretionary fund is concerned. During the last 4 years, I have not taken a single pie from that, and I visited all the villages. And 2 categories of patients names suggested by the MLAs, irrespective of their politics, I issued that. Dr. Miramar was in charge of that. 6 crore rupees on behalf of Rajbhavan. We went to the doorsteps of the patients and given that amount. But this time I think 31st is the last date for using the fund. Then I called that law college higher authority. And my desire from my heart, I expressed before him. You start a library under the name of that one judge, in fact, was expelled from Supreme Court during the emergency period. Their Lordship are very well aware of that. H.R. Khanna. I requested him to start a 10 lakh rupees Rajmahal offer from my discretionary fund, and 30 lakhs or something was there in the fund at that time. I want to dispose it before 31st of this March. Then I was put in an embarrassing situation. I was not ever heard about the name of H.R. Khanna. Then I wondered where we are going, where our bar, our law colleges and connected public conscious activities of the people are confined to where exactly it is going. I don't know how many of you are aware of that name. I had occasion to read his life history. Neither thrones in my life, exactly I am not remembering that name. But inside what is written, I read and I cried aloud. Because during the time of emergency, in 75 to 77, you see, the entire people are, you can say, timid, except judiciary. Press censorship was there. No newspaper can be published before obtaining in the midnight or 11 o'clock. Went to collectorate. Censorship officer was there. If he approves it, then only you can publish a newspaper. Otherwise, you will be put in Visa, DR, and I am not going to that subject. Then at that time, ADM Jabalpur case came up for consideration. Majority of the high courts, according to me, subject to correction because honorable judge is here. 5 or 6 or 7 high courts held the view that no government can suspend the fundamental rights. Then it was came up before the Supreme Court and all other high court pending matters also called for, and part of that hearing was there. You see, listen not my honorable Justice referred with respect to majority view and minority views in a judgment. 5 judges bench heard it. On the previous day of the declaration of judgment, the senior most judge, H.R. Khanna, was in the Rajasthan guest house. His wife, sister and others were there. Then he called his sister, not told to his wife, that today I am going to write a dissent note. That is, no government can take away the fundamental rights in the Constitution of India. And with respect to the result also, you see, within 3 months, is due, he will be elevated as the Chief Justice of India. Chief Justice of India on the one hand, and on the other hand, dissent note is declared, what will be the consequence? He will lose his Chief Justice of India, and on the other hand, Visa or DR. No court can ask the reason for put you in a jail under Visa. DR, of course, other steps are there. By that practice, there are 2 hands. One hand, Chief Justice of India. On the other hand, people's rights. And a dissent note was 4 judges. Their view, majority government can do that. And dissent note was there. Now, I can say I can proudly say that dissent not is the law of the land. Now we are all following dissent. And 4 judges, I am not mentioning their names or anything. Later, their view of apologetical views were expressed through their books. Nirinde was the attorney general at that time. A chairman asked a question. If a police officer, due to his personal enmity, taken a citizen, killing him, can this court interfere? The highest court, apex court in India, Supreme Court can interfere. Then Nirinde stated, "My Lord, as far as emergency provisions are pending, there is no remedy for the victim or his family or anybody else." So his speech from the subject I stated because of that. Then 1977 election was there. I'm not going for any politics. 5 South Indian states, including Goa, through ballot, they expressed their opinion that autocratic rule can be continued in India. That was the people's verdict. Then you see 10 other states in India. I have written a book on that, that's why I am saying this aspect. I studied everything, 1977. 72, these cow states, we call it as cow states, the 10 states in 1971 election. Out of 230 seats, 222 were given the ruling party. The same party was ruling emergency also. Then as a student of law and as a student of politics or whatever maybe, 230, 222 in favor of Bangladesh formation and other things are there, strongly with the Prime Minister of India and the political party. But in 1977, there was no independent press in India. Only one news everybody can read. All opposition leaders are jailed. No right for them to propagate. And you see, out of these 230 states, except 2, all 228 given to Jayaprakash movement is candidates, and that is why political change in 1977 happened. Thereafter, the entire world, Washington Post stated that Indian people, even though they are illiterate, barbaric, but maybe they are snake loving and other types of stated that they are the highest democracy in the world. So enlightened public or ordinary people, I am not saying anything because as a governor I am not go further on that aspect. That is why clubs and other things other organizations are concerned. Civic conscience to be created. Good things may be in the mind of the people that we let create. That is why in our Allahabad High Court Chief Justice means, I think it's a position better than a Supreme Court judge. I had occasion to read one thing. MC Chakla, Muhammad Karim Chakla, ethically and dharmically, I am respecting him as a judge better than anybody else. And he was the Chief Justice of Mumbai, at that time Bombay. There was an offer suggestion for elevating him to Supreme Court. He stated that my duty I can do better here in Mumbai High Court. Such types of historical things are there. Only the judiciary alone can do that. During the time of emergency, except Ramnath Goenka, any other plus people protest against that and have the guts? No. Any political party is directly in Goa or my Kerala agitated against that. So who is supreme? Whether Supreme Court of India is supreme? Whether Parliament is supreme? Whether Parliament is supreme? My friend, later Joseph, Supreme Court judge, was a close friend of mine. We were together in the High Court of Kerala. I was assistant solicitor there, and he was elevated to High Court also, is known to me. But his father, Justice K.K. Matthew, Supreme Court judge. In 1973, Basic Secretary come, is also different. Of course, different view may be taken, I am not blaming. So judiciary also should look into all these things. Our history is concerned, our freedom struggle. The bar played a vital role. In Goa also, 1946, Dr. Amanohar took a strong step, and it continued, and we got liberation, liberal Goa in 1961. Whether our bar is going in such a way, I don't know. I don't want to blame anybody. I don't want to criticize anybody. One thing I would like to ask before you. The motto declared by Supreme Court. What is that? Yatho dharma tado jaya. It was taken from Mahabharata. I have no time because I am not going to that aspect. Yatho dharma tado jaya. Why Supreme Court has opted that? Our India's motto, Satyameva Jayate, taken from where? Because Yado Dharmas Tado Jaya, it is not a religious concept or any religion can own it. In Mahabharata, 11 places Yado Dharmas Tado Jaya is used. As a student of history, I like this term expressed by that Gandhari. In the Kurukshetra war, on the last stage, Kauravas realized that we are not going to win. If they are not going to win in that war, 100 Kaurava sons, they will going to lose their life. Then Duryodhana approached the mother. According to Hindu concept, she was a dedicated lady, and her power under the Hindu concept was so strong. She dedicated everything for her husband and their sister. Then Kaurava leader Duryodhana asked the mother, so we are on the verge of a total collapse in this war. If my mother bless me with Vijayi Bhava, we can win in the war because of the power of my mother is known to us. Then she, the mother of 100 sons, took the view that no, Yado Dharma Tado Jaya. That is why in 1972 Supreme Court interpreted the meaning of Dharma, and Allahabad High Court, judgment I am not knowing, stated that this is properly our country accepted this concept, Yado Dharma Tado Jaya. I think our honorable judge was not there before that time. So these types of things, new generation is concerned, whether we are passing on all these things to them? It's a question. Always our bar in Indian freedom struggle, I don't know what happened in Pondicherry and Goa. Indian freedom struggle, such people were in the forefront of fighting for Dharma. Dharma is not confined to a religion. Every religion. Egam sat vipra bhagda vadanti. What is the way? You can believe in such a God or other God, but ultimately the life is for searching truths, and it will come to an end there. You can see the truths. Egam sat. Sat means truth. Egam sat vipra bhagda vadanti. The different ways are there. This is the basic thought of our country, and that is why when emergency declared from Bombay, a Solicitor General was there. He resigned. Nani Palkiwala was the lawyer of the Prime Minister because of the Allahabad court verdict and other things. The Allahabad High Court judgment was there. Then appeal was entrusted to Nani Palkiwala. During the emergency under which, if taken a view against the Prime Minister at that time, his wakalat thrown away. I don't want to appear for him. These types of so many things are there. That is why my experience here, a law college higher authority, according to me, a Chargana is not known to them. It's an unfortunate situation that may not be repeated. So, citizens as a whole, including and Mr. Murvardhan, after 3 o'clock we prepared it. I have not gone through it. My time is over. I think so. Heritage plays an important part in our lives. India is a great country marked by immense cultural heritage. I have found that Goa too is endowed with rich social, cultural and environment traditions. Having travelled extensively across the length and breadth of the Goa over the last 3 years and having first-hand experience in the great heritage of this beautiful state, I have published 3 books. I have means written by me, not by him. I have published 3 books: The Heritage Trees of Goa, Heavenly Islands of Goa, Altitudes of the Almighty, with the intention to highlight the importance of preserving and promoting Goa's heritage and passing it into the younger generations as our ancestors have done. This club is a classic example of their heritage, and we all need to take pride in its legacy. The famous Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "Man by nature is a social animal." Today I am honored to visit Club tennis. Gaspar celebrates the century here. The club is located at scenic Miramar beach, very close to Rajbhavan, and I am told that the objectives of this institution are to promote these values of communal harmony through sports, literature and many similar activities. It is a matter of pride to know that this club will be completing 100 years in 2026, and all the best wishes and other to the last. I am not fully reading it. I am afraid of my wife. She will say that even without reading, even you are not in a fluency in English, that may be her talent. We are all citizens, work for every religion teaching us that we will work for our colleagues in the society. And Goa, a well-known place. I always, some authorities in Delhi asked me, what about Goa? I told that people are good at heart. That was my comment. And this club also, highlighting that. That is why my good friend, now he is a celebrity committee chairman, all others are also very dear and near to me. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, before we move ahead with the function, just let me remind you all that today is just the launch of the centenary celebrations of this Clube, Gaspar. And as Sanjeev mentioned, we've got year-long celebrations, events planned. We would request all you members that are here this evening and the 2,440 odd that are not here to be a part of it and make this year a grand success. But I would like to now call upon Secretary of the Club, Mr. Tanmay Kolkar, to present the vote of thanks.
Good evening to everybody who is present here. Before we start with the vote of thanks, I would request our officiating president to please give a token of appreciation to the chief guest as well as the guest of honor. This is from all of us, from the managing committee, club members, and everybody who is present here. Thank you so much, sir. For gracing this occasion and sharing your thoughts with us. I'd also like to request Yogesh to hand over token of appreciation to the guest of honor. Thank you, sir, for sharing this, sharing your precious thoughts with us. Thank you, Yogesh. So we come to the end of the function, so I need to thank quite a few people who have been very instrumental in getting this together and for starting off a year-long celebration. I would like to thank our President Suril Naik. He's come all the way and he wanted to be with us, and we so very much appreciate the entire family taking all the effort for him to be here. A long and a big round of applause to him. That's the grit of a president. I would like to thank the members of our managing committee, not taking the names individually, but the entire managing committee for being there and creating this event, as well as looking forward to the new year with them. I would like to thank the chairperson of the Centenary Celebration Committee, Mr. Sanjeev Sardesai. He has been the pillar of strength for putting all this thing together and creating a complete calendar. So I would like all the members to please come ahead and give in your suggestions to him. We have opened a full-fledged secretariat for the Centenary celebration, which is in the boardroom. Sanjeev is there early morning at 9:30 till 1:30. So please come, drop in, share your thoughts. We just want to make this year memorable for all of you and all the members present. I would also like to thank the media, the people who have been supporting us, putting us out there in the social media, in the newspapers, and giving us the mileage and creating a flutter in the entire society to see to it that this year is a year-long celebration. I would also like to thank the GM of our club, Mark, and all the staff of Club Tennis de Gaspar, who have been relentlessly working with us day in and day out, putting things together, keeping the club the way it should be and more presentable for the members. For Cat Pro for catering, Lenny for the decor, as usual he's been here throughout in all our functions and gives a lending hand in terms of getting the decor in place. Skater for the PR and the social networking that she does for us, and the media for all the coverage that we are getting. I thank all the members taking out all their precious time to be here with us on this momentous occasion. I thank all